Hello everyone and welcome back to Bacon. Also, welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon. We're continuing on Rod's route. I soon come to realize that it is easier to walk around town now that everyone has forgotten who I am. The atmosphere around town feels brighter. All the spiteful stares are gone. Princess Emmeline. Oh, how are you doing? Is your wife feeling better? Emmeline has responded to most of the people who know her. She seems to know a good majority of the people in town. I hang back as Emmeline speaks with the man. The night escort hovers somewhere nearby, watching for disturbances. We're going to take longer than an hour if she continues like this. I am not going to rush her. Uh-huh. Don't you need to return to the palace to continue whatever work it is that you were doing? Rod raises an eyebrow at me. I do have to get back to my studies, but my family always comes first. That's a little sus, boy. If this makes Emmeline happy, then I will gladly come with her to town. It's a small thing. Why were you so against it before we left, then? Happy? I look more closely at Emmeline. She is smiling, but then she always smiles. I do not understand. She's more at ease talking to the townspeople sometimes because they don't judge her. Why would she have to worry about being judged? It is clear that everyone adores her. Emmeline takes the man's hand in hers as she wishes him well. Rod points out the gesture. See that? That's goodness. You can learn something from my sister, Lucette. Is goodness pretending to be interested in the lives of strangers? She's sassy. Emmeline eventually says her goodbyes before walking toward a familiar store. This is the toy shop I visited with Emmeline and Rod before. I glance at Rod and notice the expression on his face. He seems conflicted. But why? But before I can ask, Rod marches in front of me and decisively pushes open the door. When I enter, Emmeline is already hugging the shop girl, Viorica. Viorica. Okay. I was originally calling her Violet, but I'm going to attempt to just use her regular name. I mean, people don't enjoy it when you give them your own name just because you're not able to say theirs. So I need to learn to just not do that, even for game characters. It creates a better habit if you just get used to names you're not familiar with. So, Viorica. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Emmeline, you look as beautiful as ever. Oh please, I look the same. You on the other hand. Emmeline steps back before nodding, a bright smile on her face. Being in love suits you. When is the wedding? Wedding? She's already engaged? I catch a small movement out of the corner of my eyes and turn to glance at Rod. I notice his fingers clench into a fist before he quickly hides his hand behind his back. Though his expression is as impassive as always, I notice a tenseness in his shoulders. Desmond and I haven't set a date yet, but it should be soon. Would you... Viorica trails off when she notices the rest of us. Hello, Rod. Viorica? His tone is surprisingly static. Last time he was here, I was sure he sounded friendlier. Same. What can I help you with, Emmeline? Looking for another doll? Another doll? But Emmeline isn't interested in dolls. Oh no, I'm just here to see you. I can't wait for long since Rod has things to do. Emmeline, I'll wait for you outside. Oh, okay. I know it is my job to follow Emmeline around, but I am not at all interested in hearing her talk to this girl. Does she even want me here? Let us see. Honestly, I think Lucette would walk out. It just seems really, really awkward and a nuisance to her to stay. But at the same time, she's trying to show that she is responsible in her duties because she always feels like that's appropriate for people who work under her. So I'm very conflicted. Why am I always conflicted on these things? You know, we're gonna go outside. My time might be better spent trying to improve Rod's opinion of me. That is true. That is supposed to be the final goal, is to get Rod to help us out or to help him out, whichever way, both. If I could get him to tell me precisely what I have done wrong, I can make up for it. I hope that would give me a good deed. I curtsy to the two girls. Excuse me, Your Highness. I shall wait outside with Rod. I cough to clear my throat. With the prince. Okay, I won't be long. I moved to stand next to Rod, who was leaning against the wall. Ooh, a picture. Rod sighs in annoyance. Why do you keep on following me? Tell me how to rectify whatever wrong I have done to your family. This again? I cannot help but scowl at Rod's answer. You spout all this nonsense about goodness but refuse to help me. How is that good? You haven't given me any reason to help you. Other than that's her freaking home, that's her freaking dad, and what you're doing is terrible. What? If you're not serious about genuinely learning how to be good, then I'm not interested in helping you. Maybe I can catch him off guard by bringing up his response in the toy shop just now. Fine, then I will make normal conversation. Who is Viorica to you? Has she done something to hurt your family too? Viorica is a childhood friend. She's not like you at all. Oh, then why were you acting so cold to her? You obviously did not want to be inside the shop. Rod looks away from me and absently kicks a pebble on the ground. Ooh, that is none of your business. Whatever you say, squall. I sigh, disappointed with Rod's reaction. Rod turns away from me as Emmeline exits the shop. Ready to go? Emmeline nods with a small smile. The two of us begin to make our way to the palace again. By the time we return to the palace, evening has fallen. I hope we're not late for dinner. The minute the carriage doors open, we are greeted by two familiar faces. Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithro stand before us, aka Jerkface 1 and Jerkface 2. Princess Emmeline, Prince Rod, I was on my way to look for you when Sir Mithros informed me of your whereabouts. He glares at the knight's escort, and the knight shrinks back. Sir Alcaster turns sharply to me afterwards, his eyes narrowed. Why is he looking at me like that? What the heck did I do? It was getting late and the queen was worried. I'm so sorry. Oh, that was kind of selfish. She said she would only be out for an hour and she didn't think about the rest of her family. Did she even inform anyone besides her brother that they would be going out? It really took Sir Mithro saying something? That's not responsible in the slightest for anybody. Princess Emmeline, Prince Rod, it is almost time for dinner. Please let me escort you inside. Sir Mithros gestures for them to follow him. I am about to follow after when Sir Alcaster suddenly moves to block my path. His eyes are cold. He opens his mouth to say something, but then closes it and shakes his head. You are dismissed, girl. You may go back to your quarters. But that is an order. His gaze is piercing. Even when I was the princess, I was not able to stand up to that gaze. So is that just kind of a normal thing for him to do? But at the same time, he's like, you're dismissed, girl. Is he mad? Does he know who she is at this point? Or is he just mad at a servant for kind of going along with what the prince and princess want versus like fighting back or something? Yes, sir. After dinner, I make my way back to the room assigned to me. As I walk down the hall, I notice Rod heading in my direction. Rod? He suddenly grabs my arm and pulls me away down the hall. Where are you taking me? Rod does not answer and just continues moving until we reach an unfamiliar door. What is going on? Rod cuts me off by placing a finger on my lips. He looks around warily before finally pulling me in through the door with him. This place. I have heard of this place before, but have never seen it. Is this the secret passage that leads into town? Rod does not answer me. He simply keeps walking, and I see no other option but to trail after him. How is it that you know this place? He still refuses to answer. Are you deaf? Rod suddenly stops and I bump to his back. I stumble back with a scowl. You ask too many questions. I'd be asking questions too, buddy boy, because it looks like you just took her to the dungeon. In fact, this is the dungeon. This is the dungeon from the last route. You have taken her to the dungeon. Why are we in the dungeon? I'd have questions too. I am not a ride or die chick. I have questions. Because you refuse to answer any of them. Exactly. I glare back at him until Rod makes an exasperated sound. Lady Parfait is the one who told me about this passage. It makes sneaking out of the palace easier. Parfait? She did not give me any explanation as to how she knew of this place. There are only meant to be 2 copies of the keys. The king has one, and Sir Alcaster has the other. Then why do you have a key? Don't tell me you stole it from the king. I am not a thief. Lady Parfait also has a copy. She saw fit to provide me with the key for my own use. What? How does Parfait have a key to this place? You'll have to ask her that yourself. Once we step into town, I realize where it is that we are headed. We're going back to the Martian. DELORA is the first person we see as soon as we enter the Marchen. Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. Don't you even! DELORA, you. Rod's glare silences me. He steps forward and points at me. Gaze, I see. She is not staying at the palace. What? Again, Rod, that was her freaking home. She has every right to be at that palace, whether you freaking like her or not. DELORA raises an eyebrow. Why is that? She works there now. I do not know what game you are playing, but I will not be a part of it. Excuse me? This is not a game. I do not want you meddling in my life as you meddled with hers. The room's temperature drops several degrees. DELORA stares at Rod, her expression suddenly lacking any emotion. With all due respect, Your Highness, I do not want to meddle with your wallowing. But just because you do not wish to break your curse doesn't mean that others shouldn't want to either. You should be humbled that our princess here thought you would be able to help. Ooh. Hello? Who are you and what have you done with the DELORA? That line by itself is such a contrast to what she normally says that it's kind of mind-boggling. Rod raises an eyebrow. Where is Lady Parfait? Of course you want to talk to Parfait, because she puts things nicely. Fine, I'll fetch her for you. DELORA curtsies as she sweeps out of the room. Rod sighs. He clearly looks irritated, but he doesn't put a voice to his agitation. Now that we're alone in the empty room, the silence is deafening. And so I ask him the question that has bothered me since we came here. Okay? Why do you want me out of the palace? Why do you not want to break your curse? Oh crap, I'm really not sure. Oh dear. Well, I mean, I'm never sure. Why do I keep mentioning I'm not sure? I'm never freaking sure. Let's see. Why do you want me out of the palace? The further away you are from my family, the better. I glare at him. Your reaction is completely unwarranted. I am trying to make up for what I have done in the past. Only because you're being forced to. Yes. Why should that make any difference? Besides, I am still willing to help you break your curse, even though it appears you do not want to. I do not realize the anger inside of me at first, and then I notice that my hands are fists and that I am shaking. You are angry at me for treating your family with unkindness, and yet you do not treat me with any respect or kindness either. Excuse me? I realize that this is the angriest I have felt in a long time, and it makes words fall out of my mouth. You are guilty of the same disrespect you hold me accountable for. Tell him. We are both being cruel to family, aren't we? You didn't consider them family, and he doesn't really consider you family. It's more, he's just being openly cruel because he wants to be, and because he can be. He was given the opportunity, so he took it, which makes him pretty freaking terrible. Rod's eyes are ablaze as he stalks towards me. He stops right in front of me, his mouth pressed into a firm line. As you are so fond of telling Emmeline, we do not share any blood. The only thing pulling us together is the king. You do not share his morals, which doesn't make him any less his daughter. Remember this, Lucette. You will never be a part of my family. And I will never see you as a sister. Well, good, because if you did start seeing her as a sister, that would make things extremely awkward. Rod storms out of the reception area just as DELORA enters. Sorry, looks like Parfait wasn't in. She pauses, then gives me a wry smile. Seems this partnership is going well. You sarcastic little I throw my hands up in anger. He is infuriating. Not as helpful as you thought? I was surprised you were asking for his help in the first place. All I have been doing today is following around Emmeline, and he still finds reasons to snap at me. In his eyes, I can do nothing right, even though I am making an honest effort to break my curse. DELORA eyes me as she slides down into a chair. Has he told you anything about his curse? Nothing useful. DELORA sighs. Boys can be so secretive about the silliest things. Rod has been aware of how to break his curse from the very beginning. Then why hasn't he broken it? I have no idea. I think the only other person who knows the full terms and conditions of Rod's curse is Parfait. So you don't actually know what the curse entails, but you know that he knows how to break it? Why do you know one part but not the rest? Parfait? Parfait has known Rod for a while. She convinced him to keep coming to the Marchen even after he gave up on breaking his curse. Parfait also thinks that working with you will convince Rod to try finding another way to break his curse. Why would he need another way to break his curse? Is there something wrong with the first way? Does he have to kill somebody? Another way? If it's the mermaid curse, does he have to kill somebody? Oh, I'm getting ideas. Okay. Okay. Don't ask me. I don't know much about his curse either. But if you keep trying, you might convince Rod to talk. I doubt that very much. It seems that all I am doing is convincing Rod that I do not deserve to break my own curse. DELORA looks at me curiously for a few moments. Then she grins. I have an idea. Oh, no. If it is another terrible idea. Oh no, this one's much better. Oh no. No. I'll just stick around with you, you know. Watch out for you. I don't think you'll actually be watching out for her so much as tripping her up. Just based on what I've seen so far. What? DELORA, watch out for me? Uh-oh. Oh, of course. Turn into something that would slightly traumatize Lucette, most likely, given as you were her doll for a year. And she thought at least her dolls couldn't betray her, and then they did. Looks like a good idea to me. I'm surprised when DELORA suddenly stands before me in her doll form. There's no way you and Rod are going to sort yourselves out without some kind of help, so I'll be tagging along. It's much easier when I'm travel size. Why do I feel like she'll only make things worse? I'm with you on that one, Lucette, and I'm also surprised you're not even the tiniest bit upset right now just seeing the doll that you used to consider your best friend. Come on then. DELORA somehow manages to jump into the front pocket of my apron, which is thankfully large enough to fit her doll body. Also, I would be just the itziest, bitsiest bit freaked out with having the doll that I've known again for a year jump into my pocket like that, because even though I know it's DELORA, it's still seeing a doll jump into your apron. You're not gonna tense or be even the slightest bit creeped out. I guess maybe she's just kind of used to this stuff, or she just has a better constitution for this kind of stuff than I do. Let's go find us a prince and get ourselves back to the palace. Alright. Gonna stop there. One step forward. Alright. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am Beacon, and this so far has been the Cinderella phenomenon, Rod's Route. I hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. If you like the video, feel free to like the video. If you like me, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share, all that lovely stuff. And I will see you guys next time.